The pervert's name is George. He grew up in his father's meatpacking plant. Then the plant went out of business. Because he's been living in the plant all his life. He grew up witnessing all kinds of killings. George had a mental breakdown. He not only worshipped cow skulls as gods. He used to kill people for spiritual fulfillment. One day when he was out looking for a target, he saw a white boy. He went up to him and said a few words. And gained the boy's trust. Then he put him in a sack and took him to the factory. There was a blonde in the bag. George went to the shelf. He grabbed a knife. He slashed the boy's face. The boy's face. A cut of more than 10 centimeters appeared on the boy's face. Since the boy had no sense of pain since he was a child, he didn't scream. George felt that he was a rare talent. So he planned to train him to be his successor. Let's start with the basics. He wiped the blood off the boy's body. Then he asked the boy to take care of the blood on the wall. And when he was done with the blood, George turned around and took the boy. The girl's parents had died in a car accident. So she went out for a run to relax. When she passed by the abandoned factory, she saw the little boy lying in the window. She went to say hello, but the boy turned around and walked away. What's a little boy doing in this shithole? How could there be a little boy? Has he been kidnapped? The girl's curiosity got the better of her and she went to rescue the boy. We arrived at the basement level. There were bloodstains everywhere. There was a diary on the table. It was full of information about missing persons. The girl boldly went to the second basement level. She found a little boy hiding under the table. The boy was hiding under the table. The girl told him to come out from underneath. She promised to get him out safely. As soon as the boy was halfway out. And then quickly retreated. George had come up behind the girl. Before the girl could react, George pushed her to the ground. And then he hit her head with a steel bar. George turned to the boy. Then the girl was hoisted up. And began to show off her beautiful body. The girl didn't come home all night. The boyfriend went to his uncle's house to look for her, but he beat her up. The uncle went to the abandoned factory to look for her, but George shot her away. Someone yells out in fear. George thought the girl was too noisy, so he locked her up in the underground cold room. Not to mention the soundproofing is really good. Then she left the factory with the little boy in her arms. George went to his uncle's house. Then he dragged his uncle's body. Then he set the curtains on fire. Then he took a knife and went upstairs to find the little girl. The girl picked up the phone to call the police. Just as she dialed, she was stabbed. It was the boy who stabbed her. Then the boy stabbed her again and again. Until the girl was reduced to a hornet's nest. The boy got up and walked upstairs. Then came the screams of the little girl. George, wounded, ran back to the factory. He was in his room confessing. He was shot in the head with an axe. It was the boy who had the axe. By now, the uncle's house had burned to the ground. There was no evidence left. The boy nailed George's bones to the wall. Next thing you know, he became the new owner of the abandoned factory.